Just a company where they bring fresh local food from the farm straight to your table. So it's like a really nice, easy way to get fresh local food with no hormones, no antibiotics, all that stuff right to your door. So I work with a lot of companies, but I also have a practice in Tribeca that I absolutely love with, because I get to see some kids, but I'd love to see more kids. That's like my favorite thing. I've always had a passion for working with kids. And when it comes to things like ADD and ADHD, there's so many natural, fun ways of approaching health. You don't necessarily need to rush over to the medications. So, first of all, if anyone has any questions as we go, feel free to throw them out to me, because I'd love this to be interactive and fun. So that's good. We also just created an amazing a natural brain support supplement at NYC, so it's specific to help prevent migraines, boost blood flow to the brain, and increase your memory power. So we're creating all kind of new, nice, natural things and approaches to the brain. So that kind of works really nicely in conjunction with this center here, the Learning Center. So, like I said, I'm really happy to be here. So, as you can see, we have a whole bunch of yummy snacks out here, so I hope everyone has a little bit of an appetite. As you know, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, it's being overdiagnosed lately. Okay, so I don't know if you paid attention to the news last week. They actually just shortened, they made ADHD diagnosable even earlier. So as of last year and even a week ago, you were able to be diagnosed at the doctor with ADHD starting age 6 to 12. So you had that little range there. Now they just expanded that from starting at the age 4 all the way to 18 years old. So now you have this huge spectrum. Oh, go to the doctor, my kid's misbehaving a little bit, or growing up, little 4-year-olds like to run around and be kids, boisterous. No, it's too much to handle. So you go to the doctor, you can get diagnosed with ADHD starting at 4 years old. When I see that, it makes me really frustrated and mad, because obviously these pharmaceutical companies now have more power to sell more drugs to more kids, starting at a younger age, going all the way up into their 18s. So it's a huge spectrum, and I think that's going to shift the way pediatricians and see behavioral disorders nowadays with this huge shift. So that literally just happened last week. So I thought that was really pertinent to what we're talking about today. We also know that ADHD isn't just your genes, okay? So we have a predisposition to every kind of gene. So our mom and dad give us about 25% of who we are. Guess what? That gives us 75% of environmental exposure to make us who we are today. So whether or not my hair is healthy, whether or not my body shape is good, my hormones are intact, I can focus well, that's 75% we have room to play with. So that's really good. That's where nutrition comes in. That's where taking care of your lifestyle, drinking well and sleeping well. That's when all these pieces fit in nicely, and that's 75%. So just because you're diagnosed and fit into this little category, that doesn't mean that you're doomed for life, because I see that as an opportunity for growth and health. So we have a lot of room for that. So we also know that ADHD has a lot to do with the environment. So the experts like to look at environmental toxins. So we know in our foods and the air we breathe, there's always chemicals and pesticides on non-organic foods. Let's see what else. Our water isn't always filtered, right? So we have all these heavy metals leaching in that way. We get fillers put into our teeth. We're getting Wi-Fi and EMFs in the air that we're breathing. We get environmental, all the pollution from the, straight into our lungs from the cars, and EMFs, and the list just keeps going on. So we also have mold in the air and food allergies. So you can see it's a multidimensional problem. It's not just my genes are causing me to have ADD. That's just not how it is. And that's where I like to come in. I like to sit with one-on-one with my patients, with their parents, and let's figure out what's really going on. So we'll piece it together for each specific person and make you your own protocol. Because no one in my practice gets the same protocol. So one other thing that I want to talk about today is a lot of the most commonly prescribed ADHD medications. So we all know Ritalin, Adderall, focal and dextrin. These are all CNS stimulants, so sort of working up the body, So a lot of these side effects from these medications, believe it or not, as we were talking before, target the GI tract. Okay, so right here in our gut, this is where most of our immune system sits. So a lot of the side effects that these medications are giving, abdominal pain, appetite. So a lot of these kids aren't even hungry because they're still in sympathetic mode and they're not resting and digesting from the inside out. So they're sort of thrown off there, nausea, vomiting, constipation, diarrhea, headaches, weight loss. All these are the most common side effects for these main drugs. And I see it time and time again. Patients come in, they're like, what's going on? They don't really relate them to side effects from medication. So, these kids also suffer from other side effects like anxiety. Their heart health is affected because they have all these, extra neurotransmitters floating around and neurons being killed. So it's kind of a tricky bowl when it comes to the meds. So that's why I always like to look for food. What can we clean up to make these meds work better while you're still on them? Maybe you won't end up needing as much, and then maybe you won't end up needing them at all.